Here's the deal. I'm not the kind of person that you would normally expect to say something like this. I'm far from a Luddite. I own a computer repair shop, and I have for probably about 17 or 18 years, and before that I went to people's homes and did in-home consultation exclusively. I have been steeped in technology since I was a child. I got a Commodore 64 when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I had to learn commands to type into it if I wanted to be able to play video games. So at 3 or 4, my literacy was at least high enough to type load *8, 1 and run. I am not the kind of person that advocates against technology in general. However, I am also a father to children. And while my children do not seem to have this problem as bad, technology is becoming a very severe problem for children. Children should not have access to technology that is remotely free. When I was a child, you were lucky if you had a computer in the house. When I was a teenager, you were lucky if you had a computer in the house, but you probably had to have one if you could afford one. So a lot of people did get it. A lot of people got internet access too, because it was starting to also become somewhat important. We're talking about the late 90s, the early 2000s, that general era. In the 2000s, the internet became supreme. Internet access went from something that you could live without to something that you kind of can't really live without, or you're excluded from society in a variety of ways. It is important to have technical literacy. However, when I was young, technical literacy for children who didn't have a computer in the home was you go to the computer lab and they teach you how to use the computers there. It was not common to just go to the computer lab. You would go to the computer lab to do certain exercises. There would be certain programs that they would want you to run. Maybe they provided a video game of some sort that was educational for you to learn some things. But going to the computer lab was not an everyday thing. You would have access to technology, but you would not have free access to it. You would not have unlimited access to it. You would not have a Chromebook or iPad right there at your desk 24 hours a day to look at when the teacher's not looking. You would not have a cell phone in your pocket that you could whip out and check TikTok with the captions turned on. Oh wait, you don't need the captions turned on because everybody does that stupid automatic caption thing. There is a very serious problem. Now, I am ADHD and autistic, diagnosed as a child, and I mean a child in the 80s and 90s, not a child today. There are way more children that are diagnosed ADHD today, and there are also a lot more children that are diagnosed autistic today, although it is arguable that to some extent that's because we've gotten better at diagnosing and catching, finding that first and providing support. And I'm all for providing support. It's not like my children don't have their own share of problems. One in particular does have ADHD symptoms. So it's not unusual, but it's well known, and the frameworks are there to help. The problem is technology being ubiquitously available to children who are still developing is almost universally bad. I did not have constant access to technology. If I did have constant access to technology at home in some manner, it was an offline PC with a limited set of programs available that if I wanted to goof off on it, I was probably not doing something that was directly related to computers or technology. I wrote a lot of things when I was younger because guess what? I didn't have internet access most of the time. It was dial-up, and you had to go out of your way to get access to the internet. So I did not have the ability to just get online whenever I wanted and go look up stupid videos of people slipping on ice and hurting themselves, or people crashing their cars together, or some terrible animation where the character from Silksong gets squished and someone plays a kazoo version of a Christmas song in the background. And I bring that up because that's actually something that I saw one of my kids enjoying. I'm not entirely sure how that's enjoyable. It's kind of stupid. But I liked stupid shit when I was a kid. The problem is the stupid shit has to be moderated. Everybody, every human being is able to be addicted to things. And addiction is not an on-off switch. You aren't addicted or not. It is a massive, massive gray area. You start with no addiction and then you move to a lot of addiction. That's how it is. And exposure is the primary way that you become addicted to something. The problem with children is exposure to something at a young age causes you to become addicted in a way that is pathological. Like, I'm in my, 40s. I don't like to give away my exact age, but, I've kind of hit the middle age area of life. So, if I'm introduced to something now, for a while there, I was, I guess you could say, almost addicted to Subnautica, the video game. It's a really good game, and it was very impressive to me. Far more impressive than, MASH, or a shooter game number 3074 that everybody plays online multiplayer. I don't even like online multiplayer, but whatever. But I loved that game, and I've played it through probably 15 times at this point. I've played it on several computers as well. I really enjoyed it, but at some point, even that got old, and I drifted away from it. And I've not played Subnautica in a while. I actually don't even know how long. And that's kind of how I know the cycle of addiction is over. It wasn't addiction. It was just a phase. It was just an obsession because something was really new and interesting and shockingly very well done. And I was fascinated by it. But the fascination wanes. And at some point, it's just not worth it for the 17th time to to go and farm all this crap, to go down to some cave and try to, kill a bunch of big lizards or whatever so that you can get into a castle and save an even bigger lizard. I mean, that's basically the fundamental premise of the game. And you don't have to even kill the lizards if you want to. The last time I did it, I didn't. Sorry for that divergence, but anyway, the point is the technology needs to go. What I'm advocating for is all of the Chromebooks that kids have, they shouldn't have them. Maybe they can send them home, just in case they need it, but maybe not every night. Don't send the Chromebooks home every night. Send it home when they have actual homework that requires internet access to do. Stop doing assignments on Chromebooks. I want classrooms to have no Chromebooks, no iPads, no laptops, no cell phones, none of it. No technology like that in the classroom. No internet-connected technology in the classroom. Because that's the way it should be. It should not be that these kids have internet access in their pocket, on their desk, in their backpack, in their house, in their room. That all of it needs to be taken away, including the high school level. Even high schoolers should not have access to their cell phones while they are walking around in high school. And if they have them, they should be confiscated. They should be given back at the end of the day, but they should be confiscated in the meantime. If you cannot be responsible with the technology you bring to school, supposedly, under the premise that it's an emergency tool only, and blah, 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 then we need to take it from you. And they need to learn that lesson. The real world doesn't give a shit about your kids. They don't care what you think. They don't care what you feel. The real world does not care about you and your children. Your children's special snowflake syndrome doesn't matter. There's no reward waiting. When you go to your boss and you say, I did the job that I was hired to do, that I agreed to do, you don't get a box of Lucky Charms for your efforts. No, you get your paycheck and that's the end of it. And that's it. The real world doesn't give a shit. Your kids don't get special treatment. And it's shocking to me that even just like late millennials and Gen Z, that bosses have had to adapt their style of management because these people think that they should be rewarded or that people should celebrate their achievements when really they just did what they said they were going to do? Come the fuck on. No, this is unacceptable and we've got to do something to wind it back. So yes, I, the guy who loves technology, who's an early adopter, had the first Android phone not long after it came out. HTC Dream, if you're wondering. I am saying children should have access to technology, but they shouldn't have free access to technology. And most importantly, they should not have free access to the internet, period, at all, even through high school. All of that stuff should be restricted, supervised at best, locked down at worst. No phones in classrooms, no laptops in classrooms. You get a computer lab. You get a computer lab, and ideally, they're full of Apple IIs or Commodore 64s. But since that's not practical, maybe what you do is you pull the plug and you let them explore the computers offline. We have so much more stuff today than we ever had before. Blender for 3D modeling, GIMP for photo editing, and that's all free. It's all free software. That's all free software. And they could learn how to use all of it. Hell, you could pay for a Photoshop license if you really wanted to. But Blender and GIMP and Audacity Kden Live for video editing, there's all this free software you can use to learn these technical things offline. And what the kids are losing out on is offline living. Because guess what? When the internet goes out for a solid day, which it does around here sometimes, when the power goes out for a solid day, which it does around here sometimes, things happen. Your children need to know how to live without the internet. They need to know how to live without technology, even though they might have access to it. Oh, and especially AI, gotta go. Any AI use, the way you get rid of it is you disconnect from the internet, because you can't connect to the AI services if they don't have a Chromebook, they don't have a phone, they don't have laptops or desktops or any of that stuff plugged into the internet. It's amazing how many problems with kids these days could be solved if somebody just had the testicles to walk into a network closet and pop an Ethernet plug out. Pop the Ethernet plug out. Turn off the router. Give them something to do. Make the technology something they can use all they want, but with no internet connection. But hey, there's all these programs you can learn. You know what? If someone learns how to 3D model in Blender, there's careers in that. There's actual jobs in that. That is a production level 3D modeling program. It's hard to learn, but damn it, if you're a kid and you got nothing better to do, you'll figure it out. They need this. Please get the technology out of classrooms. Ban the phones, ban the laptops, don't send the stuff home. Don't let your kid have free access to technology. Because you know what I'm about to do when I get out of here? I'm about to go press the little button on the router, kill the Wi-Fi, and that problem is solved. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments down below. I'm very curious to hear what you think about this. Take care.